Hey everyone, we'll be starting shortly. I'm getting everything set up before we begin proper, so just bear with me, please. Alright, that's all posted, that's all set up. That seems to be fine. Connection seems good and stable, so I think we're good to go. So, hi everyone. Welcome to another stream of the Apollo Justice Trilogy. Y'all ready for my bad voices? Hey Rapatron. You got here early. Welcome. We're going to be teaming off where we were last time. Last time we had started the first case of the Apollo Justice game. I can't remember what it was called already. And we are currently defending Hobo Right from being convicted of murder because he was playing a poker game, which everyone was really about. You know, they were like, "Oh my God, you did gambling, you monster!" Like, what? Okay. But yeah, we went through all that. We spoke with the Russian witness, and some things are coming to light that are showing that he obviously didn't do it. But we still need to persuade the people more to believe our side of the story. Other than that, I'm not sure. But for now, we shall continue where we're going to go and see what happens next. So let us get straight into it. I am excited. I want to play. Don't make Clavier German. The whole point is that he's just Europhile. Well, I'm just to spite you telling me what to do. I'm going to make everyone German now. Everyone is German, even me. Nah, we'll see what comes out with it. Yes, resume. I need to make sure everything's showing up correctly. Yep. Refresh this. Okay, yes, showing up. We're good to go. Nice. April 20th, 12:14 p.m. District Court room number 2. Court will now reconvene. Has our witness, Miss Olga Orley, recovered? Yes, Your Honor. Well, she's regained consciousness. Perhaps we can hear her versions of events again. That's the thing. You see, she's quite fatigued. You look a bit fatigued yourself, Mr. Payne. Yeah, sadly, fatigue is insufficient. I'm making him Arnold Schwarzenegger now. I've forgotten his voice already. The fatigue is insufficient grounds for refusing to testify or prosecute. The defense would like to request Miss Orley take the stand. Very well. The witness will take the stand. Perhaps you can repeat your name and profession. Or perhaps you'd rather admit that you're a poor liar and a poor loser. Not. She's a pirate. Name's Olga Orly. That's the truth. I'm a pro dealer. The people call me Olga Quick Fingers Orly. Oh really? Oh, okay. They actually do kind of make it blatant then. Want to know something else? I'm not really Russian. My last name sounds like oh really. They made it really obvious. Wow, okay. There's the truth. I hope you're satisfied. She's dressed up like a real dealer. Witness! You'll tell the court what you were really up to that night. Fine, I'll talk. We had a plan, see? I should remind you that you are currently under oath. Any further fabrications will have serious consequences. I completely forgot what you said, so... Or wasn't paying attention at the time, I'm not sure. So, it's all good. But she was pretending to be Russian, so I was doing the right accent. Fine. I don't know what to give her now. Do I keep doing the Russian thing, or do I do it something else? Oh well. Like I said, I'm a pro. That guy Smith hired me to do what I do best. I was planted at the Borscht Ball Club several days prior to the night of the game. As a waitress. So you were in cahoots with the victim? Not that he needed my help. Smith is a well-known poker player in some circles. But winning wasn't the main purpose of this game. It was about destroying a legend, the unbeatable Phoenix Wright. The plan was simple. Elegant, really. You see, we set up a trap of sorts. I was to plant a card in Wright's pocket beforehand, and then deal 5 aces during one of their games. When their hands were revealed, Smith would call him out and search Wright. He would then pull out the planted card, and the trap would snap shut. You swapped the cards! Exposed as a cheater and losing on top of it. It would have made a great double play. Hey, Sean. Just like that, the legend would be dashed to pieces. Indeed. Getting caught red-handed at cheating would cast doubt on all his prior wins. 7-year legend destroyed by one little card. That was the plan. O'Reilly. O'Reilly, I don't know, whatever. How droll. But it appears you have made quite a mistake. A mistake? I agree the trap was elegant. Yet what happened to the planted card? Hey, that's right! He's lucky, I'll give him that. You have to be to slip free from that trap laid by Olga Quickfingers O'Reilly. Oh, really? The witness would like to be cuter, or would be much cuter if she dispensed with the evil mastermind shtick. Wow, Judge. Wow. You'd be cute if you'd smile more. That's essentially what he's saying. Cute? Who wants to be cute? I'm not cute. I'm bad. You hear me? Bad! When you're through being bad, perhaps you could testify to the court. Tell us about this trap and how it was sprung. That night I planted the card like I was supposed to. And Wright lost a hand, but the last hand just like he was supposed to. Then Smith searched him. But the planted card was gone. The trap failed. The next moment, Wright picked up a bottle and swung it. It wasn't me who hit Smith, it was the no-good cheating defendant. A surprisingly frank testimony that leaves us mostly in the dark. The trap was perfect, I tell you, perfect. If that rotten cheating hadn't messed it up. Look who's talking! Well, the testimony for what it's worth is all yours, Mr. Justice. And he called him Mr. Wright again. With witnesses like her, who needs criminals? And with defendants like Mr. Wright, who needs prosecutors? The best laid traps. Bam, bam. Hold it! This planted card, which card was it exactly? The trump card, the 5 of hearts. Yes, Mr. Wright was to have switched the 5 with the ace to make a full house. At least that's what you were going to accuse him of doing, thereby ruining his legend. I slid it into Wright's pocket. When was this? Why, before the match, of course. While he was eating. At the Borscht Bowl Club, we serve borscht and suckers. Poor Apollo. Even Miss Majorshepard once right. Yeah. Remind me never to go there. Of course, the card was to make its grand debut during the game. Like a good borscht, a good plot must be cooked up early and allowed to thicken. So, everything went according to plan. Exactly. The fifth ace came up, so it's obvious the switch went off without a hitch. Once the extra card was found in his pocket, Wright would have been forever known as a cheat and a fraud. There are worse things to be known as, I suppose. Tell us what happened with the search. The card disappeared? Yeah, my trump card, the 5 of hearts. Gone, without a trace. Poof, Zippo. Who the hell says Zippo? We searched every nook and cranny. Even inside his cute little hat. But the card was nowhere to be found, is this correct? Never in my long storied career. Never has Quick Fingers orally been so readily duped. I'm getting confused now because it's like it made sense to call her orally originally because she was pretending to be Russian, but she actually comes out and says that she's not Russian, and and her name is actually said O'Reilly or O'Reilly. So I'm getting confused about the different ways she's pronounced now. Oh really? So what happened to that 5 of hearts? Don't look at me! Aren't you that cheating, lying, two-faced defendant? So the 5 of hearts is still missing in action. Hold it! Wait, isn't that a little odd? What's odd? You searched Mr. Wright thoroughly and found nothing. Which means he didn't cheat, which means he had no reason to strike the victim. Well... Oh no, we're having a heart attack. Ugh. What was that just now? I sensed something. Something wrong, Mr. Justice? No, nothing, Your Honor. What do? Should I press her a little harder? Yes, push her into the ground. Miss Orley, you're hiding something. What are you talking about? Me? Quick Fingers really hide something? The defense will refrain from baseless accusations. I have one question for the witness, then. You say you saw the moment the defendant hit the victim. Is this true? Of course it's true. I did see it, honest. I saw it when Mr. Wright hit him. With my own eyes, I saw it. What's this weird vibe I'm getting? Oh, no, I have to be my normal voice, which is just the same as the other ones, just my normal voice not pitched up or down. That witness, for instance, Miss O'Reilly, Orley, she would touch the back of her neck during certain parts of her testimony. Did you notice? Touching her neck, was it? Whee! You know, this is still weird. Whoa, what's going on? This sensation is coming into focus. Originally I had no idea what the hell this was supposed to be. And then I'm like, wait, it's supposed to be his eye. I'm like, oh. So I just imagine that he's just staring intently at her. And she's going like, oh. This sensation is coming into focus. There, that's Twitch. It's so clear. It's like I could perceive her habit like I couldn't before. Oh, I have to press a button.
Gotcha!
Gotcha! Miss Orley, perhaps you are unaware of this yourself. Unaware of what? Whenever you get to a certain part of your testimony, you touch the back of your neck with your left hand. My neck? So what? But indeed, Justice, I hadn't noticed anything of the sort. When she says that part of her testimony, she's subconsciously recalling something. Her body reacts to the memory and she touches her neck. There's a comic of him doing exactly that, what you just said. I think I've seen that too. He's just like going, he's staring at her. I'm sure of it. A memory? Would someone care to explain what he's babbling about? This is highly unusual, but let's ask the defense. You claim the witness is remembering something. Maybe you would have evidence of this memory to show us? Her habit is scratching her neck whenever she talks about the moment of the crime. So, what would remind her the most of the moment of the crime? Miss Orley, whenever you recall the crime that night, you scratch your neck. And I'm just going to save this because, you know... I've noticed it happens when you think about the moment of the crime. There must be a reason for this habit of yours. I believe the weapon that left an what the hell is that word? Irascible impression on your neck is this. I mean, it's the only thing we got is the bottle, so... How is this allowed, by the way? He's got nothing to show or contradict it with. Hey, if they can let Wright just make stuff up and accept that, then this is the least of their problems. I think it's this. Whenever she talks about the moment of the crime, she touches her neck. And what reminds us more of that moment than this bottle, the murder weapon? But something doesn't fit. If you were only the witness to the crime, why would that make you touch your neck like you're in pain? What's he talking about now? It was Mr. Smith, the victim, who was here. Not you. This is a cross-examination, not a cross-wild conjecture. The witness's habits, they're completely irrelevant. Justice, I'll admit I'm a bit confused myself. This is certainly a unique cross-examination. You haven't been in any of Wright's cases, then. I'll explain later. Just trust me. Now's our only chance to break her. Yeah, but Payne literally tells him to stop bluffing right before then. It's true. Miss Orley, please testify in detail about the moment of the crime. About the very moment. Yet, I am knowing nothing. I have to go back to Russian now. We know you're not Russian. The witness will testify, please. Now. Bah, fine. Oh, the music's picked up. He's the one who didn't. I didn't let him out of my sight until the cops got there. Well, that's it. That's false. That's false. Button. There we go. Is it this one? No. Because we know that Wright was the one that caused the crime. Objection! So immediately she's wrong. Miss Orley, we have a record here that clearly contradicts what you just said. It states the police were alerted by a report from the defendant. And we know that the defendant left the room, climbed the stairs, and made that phone call from the first floor of the Borscht Bowl Club. So explain how you kept your eyes on the defendant when he left the room entirely. Eee! Not the lobster. The man who picked up the bottle and swung it that night wasn't the defendant. It was me. We're going to see this cutscene again. Showdown time. You dirty cheat. Check his pockets, now! I have to try and make up a voice for the dead guy. It's gone! The card's gone! You lose. Ooh, I like the song. I remember this song. I suddenly got whiplash. I'm like, oh yeah, it's this song. Just then, Smith grabbed the bottle from next to right, and he hit me. Why you? You, some master of cheating you turned out to be. Really proud of the animation, aren't they? Yeah. Eek. When I came to, the victim was already dead. Is that it? That's why I couldn't reveal who I really was. If it came out that I was in league with Smith, I'd be a suspect for sure. They never bring this track in later games, sadly? Yeah. Well, where does this leave us? Madness! Madness! No, this is Sparta. I'm dreaming! Must have been me who was hit with the bottle, and I'm imagining all of this. It appears our prosecution is at his wit's end. And frankly, I can't blame him. Mr. Gavin, what do you think about this turn of events? Mr. Gavin, sir? I believe that, as the defense in this case, we are compelled to call Mr. O'Reilly a big fat liar. What? The three were in that room the night of the murder. The defendant, the victim, and her. And she has a motive. A motive? The plot foiled, the witness got into an argument with her client, Mr. Smith. And the denouement of that argument was murder. What? I didn't. I'm no killer. It's a trap. Someone's trying to frame me. What tangled webs we weave when we practice to deceive. Nice rhyme. The fun part in this game is that most in modern day taking place in 2025. It's only, I was going to say 2 years, but it's 1 year now because it's 2024. So tangled we catch ourselves in the process. Mr. Right? Such a hasty conclusion. It's not like you with Christoph Gavin. What are you trying to say? What are you saying? It's the same thing. Why not consider the other possibility? That there was another person in the room at the time of the murder. Right, like Mr. Wright was saying before recess. A single card was swapped into the victim's hand after the murder, and the one who swapped the card didn't know 2 colors of cards were being used. A fourth person. Ah! This theory again! Your fourth person doesn't exist! Indeed. That's why I decided to bring this case to court. Here, where there's no escape and no chance for deception. The perfect place to catch the real criminal. The real criminal? Seems so far away in 2007. Yeah. And we're in luck. A clue to the real criminal's identity was kindly provided for us. And right at the beginning of the trial, no less. What? Apollo, perhaps you know what I'm talking about. Sorry? Remember what I said. Fourth person who swapped the cards made one critical error. He or she wasn't considering the color of the backs of the cards. Right. But how could such an obvious mistake occur? The cards used for the last game were red. Yet, there is one person here in our court who thought those cards were blue. Yeah, I had that impression too, but why? Well, Apollo, think you can figure out who it was? It's not me, I swear! Oh, shut up, Payne. You're just a backdrop at this point. Who's this fourth person? Why do I always get put in the spot like this? Let's see what the defense has to say. Who was it? Who thought the card used in the final game were blue? I can't present the judge, unfortunately. Well, we know it's not Olga because she was the dealer, she knew. So did he, because he was already dead. He is irrelevant to everything in existence, so it's not him. So it's between him, Phoenix, and Christoph. Well, it's obviously not Phoenix, right? He's the only one left, so... I can't remember what was said at the beginning of the whole trial. That was 2 days ago. Take that! As I suspected. Your eyes and ears are as sharp as your hair. I was right? Christoph Gavin, you were the fourth person that night. But of course Mr. Gavin knows the colour of the cards. How could he? Or how would he? As you can see, the photo of the crime scene is black and white. You can't tell which of the cards are blue, the ones on the floor or the table. But look! You can see the colours of this photo. Yes, but when he said the cards were blue, it was well before this evidence came to light. It is true that the defendant was enraged or engaged in a game of poker with the victim. I am German. Yes, it was only a game. Only that, a game in the purest sense. A competition, Your Honor. A competition? Yes, a test of wits to sadly clash of passions. Only the cards their backseat and blue flame is when it knew its final outcome. Oh yeah, he did say that. But the whole blue flame thing. Well, Christoph? Mr. Gavin? Mr. Gavin, is this something the matter? No, nothing. Excuse me. It was just so sudden. Apollo's only 5 foot. He's only 5 foot, 5'3". Wow. If you include his spikes. He's a tiny boy. Tiny. Alright. You aren't seriously accusing me, are you? Oh, Christoph. You know, even I'd never take a joke this far. This has gone beyond ridiculous, beyond dumb. This is insanity. The defendant's accusing his own defense attorney of murder? I'm gonna see. Bless me. I assure you I'm quite sane. What possible connection could Mr. Gavin have to the victim? I wasn't aware that I had a connection to Mr. Smith, either. Yes, but Mr. Gavin and the victim have never even met. Well, what if they have? Huh? There is a possibility, after all. They may have met that night before the game started. What are you suggesting? Is this the true Mr. Wright was staying, or the truth Mr. Wright was staying silent about? Well, only one thing to do. Mr. Wright, the defense would like to request that you testify to the court. The defense would like to request no such thing. Mr. Gavin? Testimony is supposed to relate to the case. How could anything happening before the game of poker be related? That's why... It explains why Wright wanted Apollo instead of Gavin. Yeah, pretty much. I'm not sure I follow, Mr. Gavin. As I explained before, the defendant believes that Miss O'Reilly, or Orley... I am to assume you speak for Mr. Justice in this. He is the defense, not you. Screw you, Mr. Gavin! Mr. Justice, the matter of Mr. Wright's testimony is up to you. Oh, okay. Oh? Does the court, in your opinion, need to hear Mr. Wright's testimony? You know what, maybe we don't need to hear it. You know, maybe it's just all a jape. Okay, fine. This is Mr. Wright's strategy. He was planning this all along. And I intend to see it through. The defense would like to hear the request that Mr. Wright testify to the court. To justice? You would betray me, your teacher? I'm sorry, Mr. Gavin. This isn't about loyalty. This is about the truth. Also, I always hated you and your stupid German accent. What are you, faking it? Yes. I am Apollo. I am actually a dirty American. Very well. The defendant, Mr. Wright, will take the stand, please. Appetite before murder. I think you get a game over if you don't have Wright testify. Oh, okay. I was kind of hoping it would do it with the last case of the second game, where if you fail or you let the guy get off free, you just quit being an attorney or something because Maya dies. You just walk off into the distance. I would like something like that to happen with this, but you know, too much, expecting too much at that point. That evening, Christoph and I had dinner. We sat at the table in this photograph. Charlie Smith walked in 5 minutes after Christoph left. When the trap failed, Smith hit the waitress. The girl was knocked out cold and Smith was uncontrollable. I left to call the police. When I returned, he was dead, blood streaming from a cut on his forehead. And that's when I made another call to defense attorney Gavin. He ain't a gangster. His real name is Clarence. Mr. Gavin, you were at the Borscht Bowl Club at the night of the murder? I dined with him rather frequently. And he talked to the defendant on the phone directly after the murder? Quite against my will, I had become involved in a murder. I thought I might be in need of a lawyer, so I called him. You were planning this all from the start, weren't you? Right. Just because you wanted to drag me into your little murder trial. The only thing I want is the truth. As I did back then, and now. I thought that my office was doing you a favor when we took you on your defense. It appears that I was wrong. Very well, the defense may cross-examine the witness. Justice. Sir. He's lying, and you're going to expose him. Understood, sir. Mr. Gavin versus Mr. Wright. This can't end well. Why can't I have a normal trial? No one gets a normal trial on the first day, kid. You had dinner with Mr. Gavin? Yes, he dines with me at the Borscht Club quite frequently. We were enjoying a usual dinner at our usual spot, as usual. I always eat at the table closest to the piano, because I'm lazy. There's the ending where Adrian Andrews gets declared guilty and the Wright quits being a lawyer. That's the one I'm referring to, yeah. I see. Where Mr. Smith was sitting. So the plates and such on the table were from your dinner? Indeed. The remnants of my meal with Christoph. We dined for 2 hours, then Christoph left. After that... Ooh. Dun. Hold it! 5 minutes? So the two of them could have passed in the restaurant during that time. That would have been a fateful encounter, to be sure. Oh, Mr. Wright, what is it you said? Christoph Gavin and Shady Smith may have met. I believe I did say that. Here is where I was nervous about this meeting. And now we hear they just passed in the hall? That does seem a little weak as a pretense of murder. Oh, it would be, if that's where all that really happened. Come on, Mr. Wright. What are you hiding this time? Hold it! About this failed trap. This is the same trap that Miss Olga... Jesus. Sorry. Orla already mentioned. The plan was simple, elegant, really. You see, we set up a trap, of course. There was a planted card in Wright's pocket beforehand, and the deal 8 faces was going to one of the games. And the hands were revealed. Smith would call him out and search Wright. He would then pull out the planted card, and the trap would snapshot. You swap the cards. And just like that, the legend would be dashed to pieces. Okay, thank you. Yes, a harmless prank in essence. It was by a quirk of fate that I happened to discover it. A quirk? I happened to put my hand in my pocket and found a card. The card she planted. Yes, I snuck a peek at it and found it was the 5 of Hearts. I had a feeling something might happen, so I disposed of the card. Before the game. One game had an ending where Phoenix and Apollo straight up get shot. Oh, wow. But don't spoil it. I want to know where that happens. I want to be there when I see that. Disposed? Where? There was an empty bottle of grape juice where I had been drinking right beside me. I threw the card inside the bottle. An empty bottle of grape juice? The murder weapon? Yes, I rolled it up and shoved it in. The colored glass makes it hard to see. A battle of wits against the deceiver and the would-be deceived. That sounds like a terrific drama. A card inside the murder weapon? That's strange. Did the police miss it in their investigation? Maybe I'll take a look. Mr. Wright, the poker head of the courtroom number 3 approves of this battle of wits. Please revise your testimony with the new information. Okay, I need to actually look at it. Grape juice, rum juice. Apparently, it's Mr. Right's favorite drink. Bottle is completely empty. Yeah, there's nothing in it. I remember fans speculated that this game was based on the bad ending of Ace Attorney 2 originally before the actual game was released, which explains why Wright ain't a lawyer and Maya not in the game. That would have been a cool twist if it was. But, I probably have to present this because it's not showing. I'm pressing the wrong button each time I do this.
Objection!
Mr. Wright, if I may... Yes? I've examined the bottle, and I don't see any card in here. No? What, Mr. Wright? Surely silence isn't all you have to say for yourself. Can't say that I know what happened to the card. I did put it in that bottle, however... Huh? Perhaps that fifth person came and took it out. Oh, and a sixth person could have helped. Mr. Gavin, Mr. Wright is your client. My apologies, Your Honor. I won't have you disparaging our investigation either. We looked into the side of the bottle, and there was nothing. So what's going on? Is Mr. Wright hoodwinking us again? Or did the card just disappear? I get the feeling Gavin probably took it. In any case, please continue the cross-examination. I'm afraid decisive contradictions call for decisive evidence. Oh. Push him harder, Justice. Break him. It's just you and the witness in the ring. Go for the KO. Why do I get the feeling we're not on our client's side anymore?
Hold it!
You made the call to police from the first floor of the restaurant, correct? Exactly. Cell phones don't get a signal down in the hideout. Was anyone else in the first floor at the time? Not a soul. It was the middle of the night, after all. So, there in the darkened restaurant, I called the cops. After making the call, I returned to hideout. It didn't seem right to leave the injured waitress alone, especially with the man that hit her. You know, it's still kind of odd that he just kind of leaves this guy who's ranting and raving after he beat a woman unconscious, still with the woman. Like, you'd think he'd be trying like, hey, buddy, calm down. Come with me. We're going to come outside. No more beating. You know? Instead, he just like, nah, just leave and call the police and I'll come back. What? They're dead?
Hold it!
And when you returned, the victim was already dead, yes. I'll admit, I was a little startled when I walked in. Little? He was bleeding from his forehead, after all. I mean, to be fair, he has seen a lot of dead people in his career. At this point, he's probably starting to get numb to it. I guess I'd be startled too if I walked in on a scene like that.
Hold it!
Did you explain why you called Mr. Gavin? I'd obviously got involved in a rather sticky affair, and I'd figured Christoph's law offices would give me a friend rate for my defense fees. Glad to hear you intend to pay. Well, I'll pay in full, Miss Christoph. It was I who got you involved after all. You may find the price of your defense quite high, my good friend. Quite high. Is this the truth that Mr. Wright was talking about? Justice, you know what you have to do. He's lying. Expose him, now. Yes, sir. I have to think, what was Mr. Wright trying to tell me with this testimony? The truth has to be somewhere in there. Well, Wright isn't the smartest guy. Remembers the Mafia, Von Kamataser, the French chef, the bridge. I mean, yeah. Let me get back to the... What's it here? Let me examine things. We can't really tell from this angle. Nor can you see it in any of these bottles. Can I look at the phone history? Oh, hello. Wow, the battery's being held in with a piece of tape. You should just buy a new one, if he can't afford it. Or he just doesn't care. No, I was going by one, because for all I know, it might be a specific button. The lid's off. I just noticed it. The lid isn't on. But then maybe he wouldn't have put it on when he put the thing back in. I don't know. Oh. For some reason I thought they were using two back cards, final hand. Maybe it's the badge. Who's here? Oh, you can kind of actually see that it almost says Apollo on there. There's a number inscribed on the back of the badge. There are many numbers like it, but this one is mine. Proof that I'm attorney. To tell the truth, I get a happy feeling inside just looking at it. 929XX3. I could catch up with chat for a minute. The phone call is what I'm interested. Lol, you're the type of guy that has to count how many grains of rice he gets? No? I never noticed the lid on the bottle was off before. Yeah. Like it's off here too. Let me try pressing on him, because maybe he's got something else to say here.
Hold it!
Why in the bottle? I perceived my opponent's intent immediately. I'm used to entrapment, you see. I knew what was coming. Oh, so you stuck first. I like that. I know every trick in the book. They don't work on me. At least that's when you get lucky and stick to your hand in your pocket, they don't. Actually brings up another question, because in order for them to see that he had a cut on his forehead, he had to take his hat, put his hat off.
Hold it!
Whoops. Victim was already blah 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 blah. I didn't mean to do that. I meant to present, so I could look at my evidence. Yeah, because you can see when they first arrived, his hat was on, and then it says here, hat removed during investigation. I'm going to present it because it doesn't feel like it fits.
Objection!
Nah. They reveals contradiction statement. They aren't. Hurt me, President or Judge. Aren't your hands supposed to be on the table at all times when playing poker? I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, they can be. I mean, I've never done that. I've always just like gone, woo. I think that won't be any points. I'm actually going to just present the phone here because it's the only thing I can think of, because it literally only says that it was used to notify the police.
Objection!
No. Evidence contradiction. No. Just gonna do one of these. Hurt me, Judge. Okay. 2:45 and 2:15. Cerebral hemorrhaging. Hardy Smith. Nothing there. I'm not actually sure what I'm supposed to press on. Or show evidence on. Table in the photograph. This one. Is this the food he's talking about? Or is that just his food? I don't think Wright would lie here, but we need more info. Yeah. "5 minutes after Christoph left." Oh, I thought I could see a time or clock here somewhere. Press, baby, press. I mean, I have. I've pressed on everything, but there's nothing new yet. Yes. 5 minutes, so the two of them could have passed in the restaurant during that time. People encountered to be sure. As you said, Christopher Gavin may have met. I did say that. Just passed in the hall. Or what really happened. Yeah, there's something here because he mentions that if that was all that happened. So I will present it.
Objection!
No, it's wrong. You're wrong! Hit my gavel! Or be hit by it. I don't have much here to show. I don't think anything here will work there. Maybe... Is there anything else here? There's the window, obviously. We've already shown something on this, so it's got to be something else. Left to call the police. I returned, he was dead, blood streaming from a cut on his forehead. That's when I made another call to Defense Attorney Gavin. Right. But I tried showing you the phone, it didn't work. I wonder if I just presented the wrong thing. I think I showed this and not this.
Objection!
I was right! I was right! Okay, so I showed the wrong one. I showed the wrong image, that was why. Mr. Wright, if I may. Yes? Take a look at this photograph at the crime scene. See the victim here? He's wearing a hat. I wouldn't think you would see blood on his forehead. Good point. Justice. Next time you point out an inconsistency, put a little more oomph into it. Mr. Wright, can you explain this to the court? Ah, I forgot to mention something. I was the one who put the hat on his head. Eh? You? You put the hat on the dead man's head? Yeah, the reason why I thought it was the other one, because it specifically mentions that it says they had to take off the hat during investigation. So that's why I thought I'd present it. But no, I had to show the image of him with the hat still on. He wore it through the entire poker game. After calling the police, when I returned to the scene, his head was on full view. Shining bright, just like this photograph. And I picked his hat up off the floor and put it on his head. Why would you do such a thing like that? All I can say is, I'm sorry, but that's the only thing I touched at the crime scene. So, Miss Orley didn't see it. It being the victim's, his head. I think not. She was out cold. I believe I was the only one who witnessed his head. Here we go again. Mr. Gavin? Pardon. It just seems that our client is determined to delay his way through this case. Hey, he's still our client, isn't he? I believe that's enough of that. Mr. Gavin? This witness's testimony is more like a travesty. It's riddled with lies. I'm beginning to see how you came to lose your attorney's badge 7 years ago. Well, you certainly have a unique way of treating your clients, Christoph. I never knew. I believe it was you who threw the first stone. Therefore, it's fine if I burn your entire house down. Mr. Wright, if you intend to ever tell the truth about this case, it's now or never. Don't be misled. I haven't told a single lie here. Eh? When I noticed the trap, I put the card in the bottle to dispose of it. And when I put the hat on the victim's head, let's just say I had a reason for doing that as well. A reason? That reason is right here. Your cell phone? That night, recall what I spoke about with the defense attorney Gavin after the police shoot. Or after calling the police. Where did the hell did the police shooting come from? Whatever. Just in case I recorded our conversation. Oh, what's this? Now that we're all here, I see no reason why I shouldn't play it back for the court. Just hiding evidence now, but okay. Christoph, I seem to be in a bit of trouble. What's this? Game not going well? Something like that. The gentleman who challenged you, he turned out to be good? He turned out to be dead. Someone hit him. Hard. You mean someone cracked the flawless bone china plate? Pate? What? Bone china pate? Or pate? It wasn't you, was it? Me, please. The cops should be here any minute. I'm in your hands, should it come to that. Bone cheetah plate. A kind of porcelain, very smooth and shiny. And not plate, but pate. I believe he was referring to a certain gentleman's balding forehead. The court appreciates the defendant's discretion in not indicating my forehead. Okay, well, we weren't even going to mention you. Wait a second. Something's not right about that phone call. How did he know he was bald? So, after Mr. Gavin ate dinner with you, he left the Borscht Bowl Club? Most certainly. Then how did he know? When did he see this bone cheetah pate? Oh, that's right. Yes. That was when I began to see my good friend in a different light. Can we just sit here and appreciate the song for a moment? I really like it. It's like it has real tension to it. It's only with what we know now that he gives the phone call more meaning. True. It's also the fact that he needs to have reasons to show the evidence and show that it actually is going to be prudent to the case, as we learned from in the previous game using evidence law, unless they got rid of that. Troubled, I returned to the crime scene. And when I spotted Mr. Smith's head again, I realized exactly what was wrong. Well, Mr. Gavin, the stage has been set. Perhaps you would like to explain this to the court. Exactly how did you come by your privileged knowledge of the victim's head? So, this is your reason. The reason why you put the victim's head back on. Your point, Mr. Gavin? It's come down to this, hasn't it, Felix Wright? Order. I will have order. Mr. Payne. Yes, Your Honor. I believe this court has been left with no other choice. Are you prepared to hear Defense Attorney Gavin's testimony? Well, as the prosecutor, Very well. We'll break for 10 minutes. I don't want to listen to his rambling. After which Mr. Gavin will take the stand for a cross-examination. Are we all clear on that? Crystal clear, Your Honor. Very well. This will be the final recess for the day. Oh boy. Things are getting crazy. 2:32 p.m. That was 2 hours of court time? I mean, yeah, courts take a long time anyway, but geez. Mr. Gavin and Mr. Wright are both in the judge's chamber. Would have thought that today would have turned out like this. I don't know who this is, so I'll just read it normally. May I? Oh, hey! Huh? What? What kind of voice should I give you? I guess I should just do a Maya voice. Hello, sir. That's not Maya. I need to remember Maya. Hello, sir. Please pick a card. What's this all about? Is this one okay? Remember case 5, right? Does that exact same thing, was able to convict the murderer. Yeah, true. Excellent. I have a message for you. The last hand is about to be played. You need a trump card to make it. A trump card? The card you have chosen is magical. Use it wisely and the game is yours. That's all. It has a single spot of dud on it. Dud, blood, and ace. Where do I remember that card from? Oh, Mr. Smith's hand was aces. And Mr. Wright's too. It is 5 aces in all. Softer and younger Maya. Yeah, I have to try and remember how I did Maya and do it younger. It is true. I've seen it. It's the 5th ace. There was a cheating, I swear to you. Does that actually say Capcom on there? The missing 5th ace. Wait, this splotch of red. Is this blood? Is it Chris's blood? Capcom Osaka, I think that said. She's just a magic version of Maya, so up to you. Yeah. You have your trump card. Now it's up to you to cut the deck and draw the truth. My father's fate is in your hands. I know you can do it. Wait, come back, weird wizard woman. This bloodstained card is my trump card for finding the truth. I'm surprised that he's not questioning more about where the hell she came from or why she has this. I fell deep into thought as my mind raced to understand what this all meant. Heat from fire, fire from heat. Yeah. That girl. I'd seen her recently, but where? Apollo. For me, it's been 2 days, and I remember. You've seen her literally 2 hours ago in a locket. Whatever. That's when I made the connection. There we go, finally. But she used to be pink, and even cuter. Or whatever. Bloody ace added to the court record. Received from the mysterious girl. Could this be the missing 5th ace? I'm on my own now. 2:45 p.m. Court will now reconvene. Defense Attorney Christoph Gavin, will you please take the stand? His hair is so pointy. Now then, if you would, Mr. Payne. Yes, Your Honor. Will the witness state his name and occupation? This farce is necessary. Is this farce necessary, Your Honor? I was going to say, this farce is unnecessary, but he says it that way. Believe me, far stranger things have gone on in this courtroom, and you be right. Remember the parrot? Fine. I'll play along for now. First, there's one thing we need to have made clear. How did you know about the secret beneath the victim's hat? By secret, I'm guessing he means the fact that Mr. Smith was bald. Forgive my curiosity, but what is it about this fellow's head? Your Honor seems to have an inordinate interest in it.
Objection!
Oh, hey! I guess the defendant is just a lawyer now. And the music's back! I wouldn't call it inordinate, Mr. Gavin. Mr. Wright! What do you think you're doing, Wright? Well, things sure look different from the other side. You know what I mean, Paulo? Speaking of looking from the other side, let's consider something for a second. The victim wore that hat all night, never taking it off except for that one time. That one time being in the incident he was hit. His new voice ruined it. Oh. I mean, I don't hate his new voice. It's just I miss the old one. Because that was him. Oh. When Mr. Wright returned to the reporting the crime scene, the hat was lying on the floor. Mr. Wright picked it up and placed it on the victim's head. In other words, in order to have seen Mr. Smith's bald head, you'd have had to have been there in the hideout at the time of the crime. In other words, I must be the real killer. Is that what you're trying to say? Not bad, Apollo. Mr. Gavin, I'm afraid that I haven't been entirely honest with the court. I am actually a murderer. What? Oh, I assure you, I had the noblest of intentions. I did it all to protect my client, Mr. Wright. Yet, I'm afraid in the current situation, I see little reason to hide anything. Very well. Allow me to tell you the truth of what happened that night. Exactly, I'm so used to hearing his old voice, it's ingrained in my brain. Yeah. Finally, you may begin your testimony. Tell us, how were you involved in the events of the fateful night? That fateful night. The rage I sensed in that man that night would troubled me, so I returned to the club. I went down to the basement and peeked through the little window into the hideout. It must have been right after the murder took place. The victim was dead, as he appeared in the photo. A bald head as unconscious girl, and Wright holding a bottle in his hand. I sensed that was not the best place for me to be at the time, so I left. Remember they put a groomer in these games? Oh. Which one? That's when they called the car came from Wright. So, you witnessed the murder? For better or worse, I missed the actual moment of the deed. Mr. Gavin, may I remind you that you are on Mr. Wright's defense's team? Your testimony is clearly disadvantageous to your client. The way he sounds like that from the back is kind of like, I just had to do it to him. You know, he's doing like the pose from the back. What else could I say? I'm standing on the witness stand after all. So you are, Mr. Gavin. And you had to testify as you just did. And you had to tell what you saw the scene of the crime through that little window. Mr. Wright? You had to say that. Because that was the only probable window of opportunity. Right, Apollo? Oh! Mr. Wright, the defense should do the cross-examination, not the defendant. Mr. Justice, are you prepared? Yes, Your Honor. I can't believe I'm going to go up against Mr. Gavin. This trial is getting weirder and weirder. And soon we'll be prosecuting the judge. The judge is the real criminal. Fateful night. Lottie cameos exclusively to ogle a minor. Yeah.
Hold it!
That man. You mean Mr. Smith? He was different from the other customers. His aura, shall we say. I knew he was a serious poker player, but he was more than that. So then you knew the true nature of your client's job? Of course, but I also knew he wasn't engaged in gambling, which would be illegal. Well, it makes sense that he'd know. They're friends, after all. Worried for my friend, I returned to the club. You see, I feared this Mr. Smith might be someone coming to settle an old score. I see. What happened then?
Hold it!
The little window. You mean the one used to keep watch upstairs? Yes, a relic of the ancient past. The Black Marketeers used it, I believe. Why did you go through the trouble of peeking in through the window? Wouldn't it have been easier to just open the door and go into the room? I didn't want to upset Wright, you see. Upset Mr. Wright? Yes. Why did I say it like that? Yes. It is my fears have been confounded. I'll be walking in their match. Bad form, to say the least. So far, everything he's saying makes sense. The judge is a real final boss of the series. He never ages. True.
Hold it!
How do you know it was right after the murder? Really? No need to shout, Justice. I was just getting to that part in my testimony. Ah, there he is, the coolest defense in the West. We know and love. Even when you're standing there on the witness stand, something never changed, huh? I was afraid you'd change too, right, but you haven't. You and that overbearing personality of yours. What the hell are you talking about? Phoenix isn't overbearing at all. For friends like these, who needs enemies?
Hold it!
By photo, you mean the second photograph of the crime scene? Precisely. You see, he wasn't wearing his hat then. I saw his head when he was dead. Then Mr. Wright came in and replaced his hat. Can you describe the scene of the crime for us?
Hold it!
Those were the only three seen at the scene of the crime. Yes, as far as I saw it, at least. Then we're back to where we started. The killer was the defendant, Phoenix Wright. Who else could it have been? But why didn't you talk to the police? 2 reasons. First, I didn't actually witness the very moment of the crime. Second, my office was tasked to defend Wright. Even after seeing what I had seen, I couldn't abandon my friend.
Objection!
There must have been someone else there at the moment of the crime. Justice, I just said that as I saw no one, not a soul. But that goes against what Mr. Wright said. Ah, yes, this mysterious 4th person. Who would conveniently be the real killer, I suppose? Glad to see we agree, Mr. Gavin. Let me pose a question, then. Tell me, what possible reason did the real killer have to swap the cards in the victim's hand? Perhaps you can show us a reason why such a thing would be necessary. How can I show something? I can't find myself. Remember, Apollo, the card that was swapped out was the 5th ace. The 5th ace, right. Well, Mr. Justice, the question of why the killer would swap out the card has been raised. Can you point to a reason? This might be a case of that I need more information and to check in other things before I present it. But on the off chance it isn't, I'm going to show. It's now or never. The defense would like to present evidence to the court. Evidence showing the reason why a card was swapped out. Then go ahead, point out the reason, Mr. Justice. Why did the killer take the 5th ace? Let's go.
Take that!
My reason is, this. Is that an ace? Why has it got blood on it? Right next to the spade. What? This is insane! Why wasn't I told about this? Why? Could this be the missing 5th ace? Inconceivable. I lost his accent for a second. How could you? What are you doing with that card? Well, that's the thing. Why is Mr. Gavin so upset? It's just a fishy card from some fishy girl. Oh, that card? It's mine. That is, I picked it up at the Borscht Ball Club that night after the murder had occurred. I gave it to my daughter. Cards are her stock and trade, after all.
Objection!
No! Impossible! Unacceptable! The court can't accept this evidence. It's a fraud. A fraud? How can you be so sure? What? I would think the only person who could claim it was a fraud would be the one who took the real card from the crime scene, the real killer. Allow me to elaborate. What if this trace of blood was the reason? The reason for the killer to take the card from the scene of the crime. Where are you going with this? I haven't had enough of you. The judge is like, I've had enough of your bullshit. Just get to the point. Take another look at the photo and at the victim's head. At the moment of the crime, his hat fell off to the floor, and a trickle of blood ran from his forehead down the back of his head. Couldn't a drop of that blood have fallen on one of the cards? I suppose. The killer then took the card to hide the body, or the blood.
Objection!
Regardless, that evidence is non-permissible. Oh? Right. Regardless of how you wasted the last 7 years, you used to be a lawyer. You know what a serious crime it is to conceal evidence. Oh, we can discuss the finer points of our legal system later. What's important now is that I've answered your question. What are you talking about, Willis? Wanted to know why the killer would have taken a card from the crime scene. And now I've told you. That's one drop of blood. That one drop of blood would have been a decisive evidence, you see.
Objection!
This is baseless conjecture. Baseless.
Objection!
Now it's my turn to object. Oh no, it's his turn. Never mind. Oh, I assure you, it's quite based. Was that the original line? Oh my god. I assure you, it's quite based. Like me. Oh my god. Also, I've noticed, is his arm shorter? I remember his arm being longer when he points. What? It's amazing, really. How a single drop of blood on a single card can lead us to the truth. It's quite simple. Well, Apollo? Yes? Try picturing the scene of the crime. It's original and I love it. Try picturing the scene of the crime in your head. Whoa, we're going into 3D mode. Jeez. The murder took place in the hideout. The body of the luckless victim was found at the poker table. And before the killers swapped a card out, there was a single card with a drop of blood on it in the victim's hand. Given this, there is one decisive problem with this scene. Well, what is it? Let's keep it simple, shall we? Given that there was a drop of blood on a card, whose position in this diagram doesn't fit? The victims, the killers, the witnesses, the second witnesses. Whose position doesn't fit with the bloody card? I would think that it would be the second witness because he would not be able to see behind the victim because there's this in a way. Plus he can't see down here where everything else is. Like he wouldn't be able to see the witness here. Maybe the killer, but I'm going to go with that one. Damn it, I have to...
Take that!
The second witness position is the problem. The second witness, that would be Mr. Gavin, yes? The second witness's position is far less problematic than yours right now, Justice. Or perhaps perilous is a better word. Ugh. I can't see what the bloodstained card has to do with the second witness's location. I'm afraid you're now more than a peril of penalty this time. Your Honor, one more chance, please. I suppose. Do think it over, Mr. Justice. I was probably just thinking too far ahead, rather than the current moment. Given that there was a drop of blood on a card, whose position in this diagram does not fit? Wait a minute, wouldn't the victim and killer be swapped because Phoenix's hand was the one that had that card in it, not the victim's. I'll go with the victim then.
Take that!
Well, isn't the victim's position that's the problem? I don't follow your logic here, Mr. Justice. Well, look, the victim's struck in the head, sending him back in his chair. You'd think any blood would fall behind the body, not onto the table in front of him. Ah. Yes, that is true. I didn't think of that until you pointed it out, because I forgot that. I was too focused on the cards than the actual position of the body. So, you know, take a look at the photo again. If he bled in this position, the blood would fall on the floor, not on the cards. Why, that's right. So, what does this mean? Incidentally, we were sitting in swivel chairs. Swivel chairs? Oh, man. Apollo, try turning the chair around. Oh. How? How? Oh, okay. I have to click it. The chair was facing the other way? It would have to be. So, we have to assume that at the time of the murder, the victim's chair was facing away from the table. When Mr. Wright returned from informing the police, which way was the chair facing? When I came back to the room, the body was facing as seen in this photo. That would mean the killer turned the chair back around. Let's take the next step. Look at the diagram once more. We know that the victim was facing away from the table at the time of the murder. But this creates another significant contradiction. Again? Let's test your reasoning skills again, shall we? Apollo, whose location on this diagram contradicts our new understanding of the crime? The victims, the killers, the witnesses, the second witnesses. Emma, just do another one of these. There we go. Well, I guess it would be the witness this time, because the guy's head would be back. And because he's now facing away, he can't see the top of his head. So that's my guess. What doesn't make sense is the second witness. You mean to say that I don't make sense? Oh, no, of course you do, sir. As I thought. Help! No, I was wrong. At least I get to see how this one fails. I see no need to further along this trial. The defense case is insufficient to overturn the prosecution's claims. Court finds the defendant thinks right. Guillotine! Bailiff! Whack his pee-pee! The defendant will surrender himself to the court's care to undergo a regular trial at the High Court within the month's time. You know, it never explains what a regular trial is. Like, they go to this trial and then they go to another trial? I guess it's just like to determine what their punishment is or something, but whatever. Bye, Phoenix, sorry. They have this as an option? To try from this scene. Wait, what? Mr. Justice, I'm a little hard of hearing. Did you say something? Would you be kind enough to show the court one more time what you mean? Wow, they actually made it so then it's like, wait a minute, that didn't happen. What were you saying? Trucy no longer has a father. That's actually really cool. Whose location on this diagram contradicts new understanding of the crime? That's an amazing new feature, yeah. I guess it would have to be the killer, because now instead of having to hit him on this side, he would have to be in front of him to hit him. Unless it's also the victim again.
Take that!
Oh, I get my full health bar back. The victim was struck from the front, correct? Indeed. Well, wouldn't it be hard for the killer to hit him from the front? Sitting where his indicator currently is? I would think it'd be quite hard, yes. Yes, but what are you saying makes no sense. Why would the victim suddenly turn to face the wall in the middle of a game? I believe there's a sufficient reason will soon come to light. But what? He's just so lost. He's like, I don't know what I'm doing here anymore. There's something in this diagram that makes far less sense, actually. Just look again at the diagram. Apollo, if the victim was struck while he was sitting as shown here, where would his assailant be standing? Try marking it on the diagram. What? But there's no room to put a marker where the killer should be. Don't worry, let's think it through and see what we find. We know the victim was facing towards the wall at the time of the crime. That's the only thing we know for sure. Try to forget about everything else. Where would the killer have been standing to strike our victim from the front? Well, if we need to ignore everything else, then it's right here.
Take that!
The killer had to be standing, well, here. You get points for flair, but that's all you get. I thought I was on to something there, too. I need to point out that standing there would be impossible. Just along for the ride, again. I'm just catching up with chat very quickly. Honestly amazing that you said they actually tied it to the story. Yeah, it's really cool that they added that in. Because before, you just had to reload and then just do the thing again. But adding that in is cool. The victim is facing a solid cupboard. Or are you claiming the killer climbed the top of the cupboard and hid from above? Ah! It's simple logic, really. If this is the only place the killer could have been standing, then that means that, at the very moment of the crime... Wait, I know. Lag, by the way. Really? I'm not getting any drop frames. It might be YouTube side. So if at the moment I'm not getting any like drop frames or anything, and that usually means that if there is any lag, it's usually YouTube that's doing it. So maybe if refresh or like trying it in a different web page will work, but I can't do anything about that, unfortunately. At the moment of the crime, the cupboard wasn't there. Broke on my end. Really? What's this now? Hold on a few seconds, please. Sure, I can wait. Just let me know when everything seems to be normal again. At least I get to listen to this song for a second. I'm just imagining now, it's like, oh yeah, the cupboard was still there. He just went inside it. He opened the door, went in like a goblin, and was like, I'm gonna kill you. Stab, or like, smash. Thus began Trucy's fatherless behavior arc. Yeah. Just let me know when it's stable again, and we'll keep going. Back. All right, all good? It's fine. All right. Great. So, what's this now? I mean, that's the only explanation. Right, Mr. Gavin? Your Honor, I have a suggestion for the defense. We should arrange it to examine the cupboard in the hideout immediately. Yeah, it's definitely YouTube's end for sure. Damn. Bailiff, send a team to the crime scene immediately. Have them try to move the cupboard. Your Honor. What? There's one more thing you'll mention look for. Please give this to the bailiff. Yes, I see. You do belong in the courtroom after all, Mr. Wright. I'll do my best. Look at this little smile. He's so cocksure. But let's forge on ahead while we wait. Look at the diagram once again. It's been changed. If the killer was standing here at the time of the crime, then this cupboard wasn't here. Which means... Apollo, try moving the cupboard. It would be covering the window. Thank you. As you can see, the cupboard was the problem. At the time of the murder, it has had to been shown as here. Now everything is in place to reconstruct the moment of the crime. Oh my! This case is like one massive 4D chess move for Wright. Yeah, in this moment he's showing like, I'm a changed man. Where once before I made mistakes and just blundered my way through, now I can literally just make 4D chess in my brain and defeat anyone. He becomes so powerful. What's this? What is it now? Look at the diagram of the crime scene once more. It appears we found yet another contradiction. What I believe to be the final contradiction, in fact. Huh? Oh, dang! Oh, dang! Who says that? Notice something, Apollo? Our line of deduction is rapidly approaching its logical conclusion. Now then, Mr. Justice, please point to this new contradicting indicator. Is it the victim, the killer, the witness, or the second witness? Which indicator in this diagram contradicts what we know about the crime? Dude, you can see it for yourself. He can't see anything. Why do I have to point out the most obvious stuff to you?
Take that!
About this cupboard. Are we all okay with assuming it was moved? Sure, why not? Well, if it was, something really doesn't fit. The cupboard would completely cover up the window to the stairs. Ah! That's right, someone standing outside wouldn't be able to see in. Someone like Mr. Gavin. What did you say? Oh, is the coolest defense in the West losing his cool? Don't expect me to play along with your little game, right? It's only a game until someone gets killed, Mr. Gavin. Someone was, while the window to that room was blocked by a cupboard. So, Mr. Gavin, perhaps you'd like to explain to the court. Exactly, where did you witness the crime scene from? Excuse me, Your Honor, random bailiff. Order, this is a court of law and I will have order. We just now received word from our investigative team at the Borscht Bowl Club. They've examined the cupboard in the hideout, Your Honor. Oh? And what did they find? Because the defense has to do his job, the prosecution job, and the judge's job, helps to be their inside knowledge, know of motive and that operator. Yeah. Well, Your Honor, it turns out there was a secret passage behind it. What? Ah, yes, I believe I mentioned something of the sort before. This is one of the trick rooms, or the room to the room many of the regulars know about. I do remember him saying something about that, now that he mentions it. A secret passage is a handy thing to have when you are engaged in illegal goings-on. Never know when you might need to duck away from the eyes of the law. So the room has a secret passage. Where does it go? The other side connects to the restaurant above. The underworld bosses would get away from the cops and enjoy a cold bowl of borscht, no doubt. Just like our killer. You see where our line of deductive reasoning has led us, Apollo? I see it, but I don't believe it. That girl wasn't kidding when she said I needed this trump card for the last hand. At the time of the murder, the window was blocked and the victim's hat was only off his head for a few minutes between Mr. Smith's murder and Mr. Wright's return from calling the cops. In other words, the only place anyone could have seen the victim's bald head was from inside the hideout. Well, Mr. Gavin? Come on, say something. Did I ask what really happened that night? Actually, I think we can probably figure it out ourselves at this point. That night, for whatever reason, our killer had a date with Mr. Smith. A date with destiny. Dual destinies. There he crouched, hidden in the secret passageway behind the cupboard. Holding his breath, waiting for just the right moment. When the chance came, he took it. Oh! Eek! What? Why did you do that? Wait here, I'll get help. Miss Olga Orley was out cold, struck by Mr. Smith. But his time was soon to come. Mr. Wright went upstairs to call the cops, leaving Mr. Charlie Smith alone in the hideout with the unconscious dealer. Then our killer stepped out from behind the secret passage and into the hideout. The victim must have heard the cupboard sliding aside. He wheeled his chair around to look, and after the deed was done, the criminal must have seen the blood on the card. He would have, of course, realized the need to destroy the evidence. That single spot of blood told the whole story of the crime. Does he have gloves on? I don't think so, but we can see in a minute, hopefully. Too bad for him, he didn't linger any longer in the hideout that night. If he had, he might have noticed the cards on the floor. And the fact that they were all red. Ugh. Well, it seems the trial is taking yet another turn. I'm truly sorry I had to see this day come, Mr. Gavin. Mr. Gavin? Mr. Payne. Yeah. Yes, Your Honor? The prosecution will continue its investigation. As for Mr. Phoenix Wright, the defendant, he is hereby cleared of all suspicion. Wah! Believe me when I say that I don't believe this is happening, Mr. Gavin. But I'm afraid circumstances call for me to issue a warrant for your arrest immediately.
Objection!
I will not be arrested. I am too perfect. Oh, no need to apologize. I rather enjoyed myself. It's not every day you get to witness a legendary attorney's dirty tactics firsthand. Your point, Mr. Gavin? Frankly, Your Honor, I'm shocked that a person of your caliber will be taken in by such a lower-grade parlor trick. Excuse me? The defendant is cleared of all suspicion? It is hardly the time for jokes, Your Honor. Mr. Wright hasn't proven anyone's guilt or innocence here. What he has done is use illegal evidence to put the blame on someone else. And not just anyone else, but me, his own defense attorney. Illegal evidence?
Objection!
Let me ask you, Mr. Gavin. Is there still any reason at present to suspect me of wrongdoing? Of course. This bottle, for instance. The bottle of grape juice Mr. Wright was drinking. How do you intend to explain away the fingerprints on the murder weapon? And not just any fingerprints. Am I right, Mr. Payne? Actually, yes. The fingerprints on the bottle were, upside down. I seem to recall this being an issue earlier. The court in this case demand an explanation. I can think of only one reason why one would hold a bottle upside down. And that is to hit someone with the bottom of the bottle. Well, actually, I've held bottles up from the neck like that before because I just like to hold them like that. And I want to feel like I'm going to hit someone. But I don't, obviously. Sometimes I just want to hold a bottle wrong. Is that so wrong? Like I pretend it's a sword or it's a lightsaber. Well, Your Honor? See how the corkfish squirms to the last. Well, Apollo? Yes? The boss seems awfully concerned about this bottle still. But I'm sure you can come up with a suitable explanation. Just like that. Yeah. Just like what? Why would anyone grab a bottle upside down? Other than to... Ooh. Don't let him trick you into thinking his explanation is the only legitimate one. Is there really another? Take another look at the court record. I believe you'll find a simple answer there, in plain sight. How about you just say the answer in plain words? It would be hasty to deliver a verdict with unanswered questions indeed. Well, Mr. Justice, Mr. Gavin said that the court in this case demand an explanation. Don't worry, justice won't leave until justice is done. Perhaps the defense would care to enlighten the court? What evidence do you have to explain why the fingerprints on the bottle are upside down? Well, the bottle is that way, so maybe he has to hold it. Or... he does not wear gloves, no. Light is just copying Mia now. Yeah. Where were the bottles he grabbed? Right here. Oh, like it was immediately, yeah, it's either because he put the card in it and he had to hold it upside down, or it's because they were in a case and he had to pull them out by the neck. You just explained the reason earlier. Man, a lot's happened. A lot's happened. Could just be this ace. I was going to present this.
Take that!
It's actually easier to show you than explain, Your Honor. Place that bottle on the floor next to your chair. Excuse me, on the floor? Yes, now reach down and pick it up. Without getting out of the chair. See? You naturally go to pick it up by its neck. With your fingers. Upside down! Look at this photograph taken on the night of the murder. The defendant, Mr. Wright, sat here, playing piano, bottles of grape juice on the floor to the side of his piano bench. He would have naturally picked up the bottles upside down several times. Wow, I can't believe it was that simple. I can't believe I missed that. Recall our dinner that evening, Christoph. I was drinking my usual juice then, too. Basically, you used the bottle on the table to do the deed. But then you must have remembered. So you went and picked up one of the bottles from under the piano. And you switched the bottles. You took one of Mr. Wright's bottles and made it look like a murder weapon. Order, order, order! What do you have to say to these charges, Mr. Gavin? Oh, then why are my fingerprints on the bottle? Fascinating. So this is the legendary attorney's famed tactic of misdirection. What? You claim that I switched the bottle? Where is your proof? Proof? Well, that's, as I thought, more baseless conjecture. I'm afraid your bottle of proof is quite empty.
Objection!
I wouldn't be so sure about that. Your Honor, when you initiated the investigation of the hideout earlier, do you recall I requested an additional investigation? Ah, yes. I have your memo about that right here. Retrieve the bottles from under the piano at the Borscht Ball Club. And here's one of the bottles in the question. Huh. What are you going to dust for them for prints too? I would be surprised if any of were on that but his. Mr. Gavins probably wouldn't make such a novice mistake. True. That bottle won't bear a trace of anything. Say, Apollo. Yes? Why don't you go ahead and examine that bottle? Why? Just humor me. He's suddenly serious. He's like, just do it! Mr. Wright. That bottle will solve the case once and for all. What? That's some bottle? Immediately I can see the crumpled card. There's something inside this bottle. It's a 5 of hearts. What's this? That card. It can't be. I recall the unpleasant woman's testimony for a moment. Oh, recall. Eh? Miss Olga Orley? Yes, a little swindling Devochka. Or is it Devochka? That night I planted the card like I was supposed to, and Wright lost a hand just like he was supposed to. And then Smith searched him, but the planted card was gone. The trap failed. Wait, this isn't... You're telling me that this is the planted card you disposed of? The only one you mentioned in this piece of testimony. I would put my hand in my pocket and found a card. Yes, I snuck a peek at it and found it was the 5 of hearts. I had a feeling something might happen, so I disposed of the card. Before the game. Disposed? Where? There was an empty bottle of grape juice I had been drinking right beside me. I threw the card inside the bottle. The 5 of hearts. This is the card. The bottles were swapped. And the only one who could have done that was the 4th person in the club that night. You, Mr. Christoph Gavin. A lobster, no! He has the most understated breakdown moment, but it is still so good because it's understated. That is all. I mean, this one anyway. This one is his most understated one. Is this your idea of revenge, Phoenix Wright? Revenge? Revenge for the events that took away your attorney's badge 7 years ago. My past is like my logic, straight and true. Nothing's changed. All I did was point the finger of justice in the proper direction. Fine. I'm glad we could have had this little tete-a-tete, all right? This is insane! What about me? Don't I get it? Prosecute anyone? No, you will forever be a failure. I believe this time we've finally come to the end of our trial. Mr. Payne, do you have a report for us on Christoph Gavin? He's admitted everything. We're processing his arrest now. I see. Still, one has to wonder why he would do such a thing. He didn't even have a connection to the victim, did he? None that we know of? Never mind, too early. Yeah, I think I know which track you're talking about. I don't remember it, but I think I know which one you mean. I think that's later, in a different case. But, again, I'm not sure. Mr. Wright, do you have anything to add? I'm afraid I can't shed any more light on the matter. About this victim, Mr. Shardy Smith. His occupation was listed as traveller. An odd profession to be sure, but that's all we know about him. I'll arrange a follow-up investigation, Your Honour. Good. Mr. Wright? Yes? 7 years, and you still haven't lost your touch. Christoph Gavin was a man with much significance for me, both as a friend and a lawyer. He was extremely talented, to be sure. I needed two things before I could confront him. The first was a place where no justice could be tolerated. This courtroom. The second was a man who would tolerate no injustice. In other words, a defense attorney. You, Apollo. Me? This is a dark time for our legal system. And thus begins the most mixed opinion arc of them all. The dark age of the law. A twisting of justice brought on by our very own initial trial system. We have to set it right. Mr. Wright. Our work lies ahead of us, and I, for one, am looking forward to it. Well, this seems like a good time to announce a verdict. This court finds the defendant, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Yeah! Look at these squares! Court is adjourned. The Dark Age is bollocks. I'm sorry. Misunderstood. April 20th, 4:28 p.m. That's another 2 hours. So we're in there for what, like 6 hours? 6 or 8 hours? Thanks, Apollo. You came through, just like I thought you would. I'm pretty sure I didn't do a thing in there. It was you who cornered Mr. Gav, the killer. Couldn't have done it by myself. You sensed it too today, didn't you? Your ability. Ability? Yes, a sensitivity I lack. You'll come to understand it soon enough. I mean, you don't even need to look at them. You just know when people are lying. You're that good, you don't need an ability. Except for, you know, the Magatama, but that's for, like, figuring out hidden truths outside of a court. Wait, I wonder if he means... I have one question for the witness, then. I imagine that he just thinks of himself like this really badass in his flashbacks. You say you saw the moment the defendant hit the victim. Is this true? Of course it's true. What's this weird vibe I'm getting? What was that, Mr. Wright? You have to find the answer to your question yourself. Which he never will. Now that I think about it, he never realizes or finds out. So far, anyway, as much as I know. The answer. Right. Today was full of questions without answers. Most of them about Mr. Gavin. What possible reason could he have to commit murder? Perhaps you'll learn that in the days to come. Huh? Wait, you don't know, do you? This locket is the key. Huh? Oh, that reminds me. I met the girl whose picture is in your locket. You did without certain details. Okay, so I might have just misremembered, but that's fine. We'll find out as we go along, I guess. Your daughter, right? That's right, she's my daughter. You know, you were right about this locket. Eh? I took this off his neck the night he died. But it looks like our dear Russian scam artist saw me. So the truth is, this locket really did belong to him. Wait, but that's perjury! You testified, you said that locket was yours. I said no such thing, actually. Huh? I merely said that it was a locket with my daughter's picture inside. A subtle distinction, but a distinction nonetheless. Oh, you're skirting the law, boy! You're skirting the law with that. And it's the truth. Oh, whoops. Wait, but then, why? Why was the victim wearing a locket with a picture of your daughter inside it? Sometimes the straightest path to the truth isn't the best one. Give it time. You're still just getting started with your career. Speaking of which, I may be out of a job. I work for Gavin Law Offices after all. I still can't believe I just saw Mr. Gavin get led away in handcuffs. Apollo. Yes? How about coming to work for me? Eh? You mean at the Wright and Cove Law Offices? Didn't your place get shut down? I mean, there's not a single attorney in my generation that doesn't know it. I can't imagine that to be true, but... Wait, but didn't you... You're not a... Oh, I turned in my badge, yes. I'm not an attorney anymore. Also, he has it on easy mode, but you're a hobo as a babysitter. That incident 7 years ago. That legendary trial. And at the middle of it all was one man. Phoenix Wright. The case reached its sad conclusion and he left law for good. This is the track I was on about. Oh. Have you ever thought about coming back to courts? I'm not qualified to stand in a court of law, I'm afraid. Didn't you notice in today's trial? There was a single piece of forged evidence. Forged evidence? What are you talking about? I get the feeling this is one of those things where I have to present the right thing. So I'm going to save, because I keep fuddling with this. I'm talking about evidence that shouldn't have existed. A naughty magician's trick. One piece of evidence struck me as odd, it's true. It just seemed, well, too perfect. I bet this was the forged evidence. It was the card, wasn't it? Because suddenly it just appears and it's the one thing that lets us go down the right path. Because the way Gavin reacted made it seem as though he was the one that was supposed to have it, but he didn't. Therefore, this is a false card with tampered evidence on it to make it seem as though it's real.
Take that!
You mean this, don't you? I got this from your daughter, Mr. Wright. Yes, that card couldn't have been found without the crime scene. Why? Because the killer took it with him when he left, leaving the wrong card in its place. Lucky for us. That court can't accept this evidence. It's a fraud. A fraud? How can you be so sure? I would think the only person who could claim it was a fraud would be the one who took the real card from the crime scene. The real killer. Picked the wrong option. Look, trust me, at some point I'll end up showing the badge by pure accident. You gotta believe in the system. That's just gonna happen. My verdict was already handed down 7 years ago. Then, you really... Yes, I forged this card. One look at the crime scene would have told you it wasn't real. But you can't do something like that and call yourself an attorney. Who's calling themselves an attorney, Apollo? So it's true. The rumor is true. 7 years ago. None of that matters much now, does it? I punched him. Apollo punch. Is your story from here on out, Apollo? Perhaps I can help you turn your next page. My office's address. Drop in if you'd like. Mr. Wright. Oh, about your uppercut. Try yelling, "Take that," next time. I find it packs a little more punch. I mean, to be fair, he has punched people in the previous games. Literally, this guy just shows up, punches Phoenix, and then just joins him. And Apollo, thanks for the day. I had a good time. With that, Mr. Wright walked out the door. And that's how my first trial ended. A lot of mysteries went unsolved. And at the time, I had no idea where they were related. Every mystery that day, connected by a single thread of logic. I'd find out soon enough. My name is Apollo Justice, attorney at law, and this is how my story begins, and then ends in the same game. End. Yeah, achievement, turnabout Trump. And I almost again read that as turnip. Turnabout corner. How long have we got left? Because if we have enough time, I'll just start this next one. Ooh, I have 18 minutes. That might be enough time, so... Well, let's go to the next one, I guess. We'll see what the next one holds. Turnabout corner. A wheel. As long as we draw breath, the wheel of fate turns. Was that Phoenix again? Random Noodle Man. Spinning big crimes and little crimes together. And when the wheel stops... you die. June 15th, 9:12 a.m. Ranco Law Offices. At least get the intro done. Terrible. Yep. Oh. I mean, we can just end it there if you want me to just end it with that as, like, the scene for, like, the next game when we do stream next time. That would actually be a good place to stop. Just to stop it there so then it creates a mystery of what's going to happen next. And then next time we see the intro again. Or if that happens. Yeah, that's a good place. Yeah, we'll just go back to the menu because of that. Don't save because we already did. You haven't saved your game, any problem? Yeah, just go. Okay, exit game. Alright, so, we made a lot of progress. That was literally 2 hours left of that other case, pretty much. You were pretty spot on about that, Sean, last time. So, yeah. That's our first case done. Next time we have to sort out a person getting shot or something, or shooting someone else, which was odd because his hands were still on the railing, but somehow he shot a gun. But anyway, I look forward to the next one. This one was great. Again, I like the additions and changes that they made, especially that whole, like, oh, wait a minute, this didn't actually happen. What were you saying? I think that's really cool. And yeah, I'm looking forward to doing the next one. I can, the things that it showed me, I remember bits and pieces, but I don't remember the whole thing. Again, like I said, I only played this one, well, not this version, the original on 3DS or DS, once. So I barely remember anything, but I'm starting to remember bits and pieces of this case, but not enough to be like, oh yeah, that's what this is or something. But yeah, I'm looking forward to doing it more of that next time. I hope everyone's enjoying this. I am enjoying doing the voices again. Even though I'm kind of sucking at them at the moment because there's so many voices I have to do. But yeah, it's enjoyable. Hope everyone else is liking it. We'll be back with this on Tuesday. Tomorrow we'll be back with God of War. So be sure to turn to that if you'd like to watch it. It's fun. It's a different game to this, but yeah. Other than that, thank you for joining as usual. Like, follow, subscribe, do that bell notification so you know when our next stream. And if you want to help support me, there's links to Patreon and tips also in the description. They do help a lot if you can do it. It'd be great if you could support me through there. And you become a patron, you get your name added to the patron list, where I give you a shout out at the end of every stream, like I do with Hiroru Okuni, where I thank him for the continued support, and I greatly appreciate you. And I put you in a murder trial and get you non-convicted because I am your defense attorney. So, woo. But yeah, until next time, thank you for joining, Sean. Thanks for joining Raphotron and anyone else that's still here. I'll see you all next time. And until then, y'all take care and have a nice rest of the day. Thanks for joining, everyone. Bye. Bye, everyone. Bye, Sean. Bye, Raphotron. Take care of yourselves.